Inhale the memes, exhale the memes, inject the memes into my bloodstream. There are good memes and there are bad memes. Why has God abandoned us?
Meme review. Meme review.
What is a meme? You might not be able to articulate it into words right away.
Nice catch, Blanco Nino.
But you definitely know one when you see it.
Too bad your ass got sad.
They're things a group passes from one individual to another through imitation. They're pretty much anything at this point.
I be flossing.
A funny picture,
Pork chop sandwiches.
a video, a piece of text, or whatever else. So how the hell does this relate to warfare? Are we discussing meme warfare in the pop culture metaphorical sense of the word, like dum-dums getting involved in a Twitter beef? Or do we mean something like actual war? The answer's both. And the worst part is, you can't untangle the two from the top-down perspective. Now don't get me wrong, you can personally not be a part of it, unplug, and get a flip phone if you really want, but just like with your privacy, the trade-off for saying fuck it is one of convenience. Convenience the vast majority of us now take for granted. How much do you personally want to be a part of all this connectivity? That answer's different for everyone.
Good morning, Julia. It's me, Joe.
How much are you okay missing out on the convenience of things like Uber, Seamless, Delivery.com, TaskRabbit, Postmates, LA Speedweed, Amazon, or whatever other consumer goods and services you get with your thumbs? What about if these conveniences bleed into other things you consume, like entertainment during your downtime? How about some Netflix, Hulu, Twitch, Amazon Prime, YouTube, Reddit, 4chan, Tumblr?
That's a lot of damage. How about a little more?
And how long until all of that blends seamlessly into your social activity? Facebook, Twitter. What about your romantic life? Maybe Tinder, Grindr, Hinge, Coffee Meets Bagel, Farmers Only. Fuck yes, Farmers Only!
Now that's a lot of damage!
Gothic Match, Equestrian Cupid. Wait, this Equestrian Cupid? I'll just go back to Gothic Match.
Fuck me. Piss on me, beat me, I'm home here now. You see me when I come over today and try it out, man. Piss on me, try it out.
Alright, let's be honest. A sizable chunk of us has been roped into a lot of these at roughly the same time within the span of a few years. In 2019, you probably have a fairly substantial digital footprint, whether you like it or not. Even if you didn't ask for it. Many things you need to do as a functioning adult now require you to register, process through, or otherwise utilize a digital database that holds on to a good deal of your personal information. Doctors, taxes, job applications, trying to get into a school, you name it. So how does that lump actual warfare in with the less intelligent yelling at each other on Twitter and Facebook? It does in two ways. One technological and one psychological. But first, what goes through your head when you think of warfare? Maybe it's something like this. Maybe this instead. Maybe something a little more recent. This unintentional meme actually encapsulates a lot of the evolution of warfare.
Has changed. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines.
If war were a game, which it's not, like a board game, you can look at it this way. The ultimate goal will always remain the same, even if the pieces, board, and rules change from time to time. That's the angle I'm trying to take here. The principles of military doctrine don't change, just how they're employed. I'm not talking about taking a Frederick the Great style counter column and dropping it in the middle of Syria. That would be ridiculous. I mean, as technology and techniques evolve, principles and overarching concepts remain the same in many ways. What changes is how everything is employed based on the mission, enemy, troops available, terrain, and civil considerations. Every situation's different and requires thought. Alright, so how does this tie in with memetic warfare? Memetic warfare is just a new name for an old idea. It's a time-honored idea dating as far back as armed conflict itself, psychological warfare. I'm talking about using propaganda and disinformation tactics against an enemy, supported by the military, the economy, and politics as needed. Propaganda's got a few uses. It can demoralize your enemy before a fight, or sometimes even convince them you're right and not to fight anymore. It can also be used on allies to get them to further commit to whatever it is you care about. You know what else? You can even use it on your own people.
I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Detective, this is no going and you tell me do things I done running.
Examples throughout history range from as early as Cyrus the Great taking Babylon in 539 BC, to these leaflets being dropped out of a plane in World War II, to those dudes who would ride around in a Humvee in Iraq yelling shit out at the locals with speakers mounted to their trucks. So what is the common thread in psychological warfare from back in the day when you compare it to the ridiculous nonsense we look at all the time on our phones, even when we're dropping a deuce or can't sleep? The main answer is that you're trying to manipulate your enemy into doing what you want because it's easier than actually having to fight them. You prey on things like fear of the unknown, like them not knowing what your capabilities and troop strength are, or what your technology is capable of. You also prey on things like low morale, civilian opinions, and popular culture. That begs the question then, why does something that's been employed for hundreds of years seem so different now? Why does every media outlet cover stories about Russian troll farms, or North Korean or Iranian cyber attacks? What makes this new way of doing an old job so special? It's special because of two key differences: availability of the weapons, and diversity of intent behind their use. Now every dumbass has access to a phone and every social media platform on the planet. On top of that, every one of these people has a different version of how they'd like the world to run. You might say, hey Doug, doesn't all of this access and opportunity for communication mean we could all enjoy a new era of productive discourse? Nope. Unfortunately, web-based stupidity and ignorance are at epidemic levels on all platforms. Everything from extremes of both the left and the right eating themselves politically one day at a time, to an incel shitting on some overly made-up chick in Lululemon yoga pants hawking that weird laxative tea on Instagram. Eventually, people find like-minded other people, and echo chambers are formed. They're the worst. The most immediate echo chambers you're probably aware of are people on your Facebook. Everyone has those few people in their feed that actually believe people give a shit about their hot takes on politics. They're usually of below-average intelligence and simply state their opinion as fact. The worst part is, without their stupid echo chamber telling them that they're awesome, they'd probably stop doing it. Look, I'm not saying it's bad to have a political opinion. I just personally don't think you're going to achieve the pinnacle of enlightened discourse in a wall of text where the angry misspellings are matched only by the number of times data is either misinterpreted, taken out of context, or even downright fake. You know, like your aunt's Facebook page.
You fat fucking aunt.
Isn't she the fucking worst, guys? But yeah, now every individual and every group can scream into the abyss and hope their message resonates with somebody. Anybody. You know, just like I do on a regular basis on this YouTube channel. The only inevitable conclusion for this type of behavior is informational chaos. It's a chaos that can be manipulated to some extent, but at its core is a chaos that grows organically through things that can often make no goddamn sense when taken out of the context of internet culture and the spreading of memes and trends. In a weird way, sharing dumb memes has become linguistic in its own right. Each community has its own inside jokes, and the old-timers feel a sense of pride in understanding these references, and often hold it over the heads of those newly initiated into the subculture. Sometimes these ideas are innocuous and provide a small amount of joy to those consuming them, and sometimes they have a wider reach with an intent to alter, however slightly, people's beliefs or opinions. It's really no different than corporations like Fox News and NBC competing for opposing audiences by putting their own spin on things.
After more than a dozen years at Fox News, I have decided to pursue a new challenge. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Megyn Kelly, and I want to begin with two words. I'm sorry. You may have heard that yesterday we had a discussion here about political correctness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
In the case of these major news outlets, they're driven by television ad revenue. Nothing earth-shattering there. They're publicly traded companies with fiduciary responsibility to provide value to their shareholders. The implied task is to do whatever it takes to grow. In this case, to get the views needed to justify what they charge for commercial space, they simply pander to the two extremes of the political spectrum and will adjust as needed in order to continue to grow in the future. The newer version of this that your 60-year-old aunt doesn't look at has been naturally adopted by those who spend more time in corners of the internet that skew on the younger side. And for those of you that are not 60 but have no idea what the fuck you're looking at on the screen right now, The Blaze is not considered a fair and impartial source of information. For you hippies out there, neither is the Young Turks. Jesus. It all just depends on which ideology's wagon you want to hitch your unfulfilled life's horse to. Because let's be honest, you really only care that much about shit that doesn't personally affect you because you have nothing else going on that brings you actual joy like you pretend it does on Facebook and Instagram. The logical progression of this line of thought is that if places like Reddit, 4chan, YouTube, or any of the other flavors of content aggregation are such chaotic shit shows, how does anyone get anything done? This is where it gets weird. Let's look at one example that's spent a lot of time in the public eye these days. Russian agents influencing the political process in the United States. Cyber war isn't what we thought it would be 15-20 years ago. You guys want to hack the Gibson? Flip over some oil tankers? How about we just steal a bunch of money? What about letting all our key infrastructure fall prey to some dude who understands network security? So barring anything resembling a man-made natural disaster, a financial meltdown, or a crippling attack on infrastructure, we're left to wade around in the more subversive, mundane, and slimy end of this pool of diarrhea. While vulnerable ballot machines and leaked emails discussing the inner goings-on of the Democratic Party during a primary election are definitely nice, fragrant pots of shit to stir for foreign agents looking to sow discontent, these kinds of things are only the sexier and more visible efforts of these foreign actors. The more prevalent reality of it touches millions of people daily. I'm not talking about Russians hacking into the DNC servers and laundering their findings through WikiLeaks. I'm talking about what people did with that information after the fact. I'm talking about what people do with any information on a daily basis, regardless of the subject matter. What looks like shitposting trolls popping up all over your feeds on different platforms is really just a new take on an old idea. Propaganda. Your stupid fucking aunt keeps retweeting and sharing this ridiculous shit because she has too much goddamn time and doesn't understand how to tell the difference between what's real and what isn't.
You fat fucking aunt.
But we shouldn't give her too much of a hard time. When she was getting her 1970s Altar of Venus pounded out raw dog to Sir Elton John's Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, she was used to getting her information from Walter Cronkite, the most trusted man in America. It was simply a given that the news was considered an unbiased source of information and that it could be trusted to get legitimate facts about what was going on in the world.
Welcome to the death of journalism.
In 2019, we've eroded the business model for traditional long-form journalism, be it print, televised, or other. It's dying a slow death because it just isn't profitable to take weeks, months, or even years to put something investigative together. It takes far too much effort to do that when churning out low-effort commentary on other primary source information is significantly more profitable. So, is this all just a bunch of shit posters? Absolutely not. The unfortunate reality of this movement to spread political disarray is that it is both deliberate and widespread. They often operate under the veil of being members of special interest groups. The game plan goes like this. The Russian Internet Research Agency, or IRA, was founded in 2013 and serves as a kind of cross between a government intelligence service and a marketing company, which is a brilliant mix in 2019. This organization throws a bunch of shit at the wall to see what sticks. Every activist, separatist, special interest group, or subculture gets some attention. Brexit, CalExit, men's rights activists, militias, nationalist groups, the NAACP, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Flat Earthers, whatever. Nobody's excluded. Everyone gets some attention directed toward their community. It doesn't matter which community, as long as those looking to plant new seeds into new minds can infiltrate that community, they will. And echo chambers are not difficult to fake your way into. Memes, memes, memes. Doesn't matter what group it is, just make the goddamn memes that get those people to agree with you and begin engaging with your content. Repost, repurpose, whatever. As long as it gets eyeballs on the links. Left-wing radicals, right-wing radicals, church groups, LGBTQ, racial community groups. This kind of interaction runs the entire range of humanity. Why would they engage across such a broad spectrum? Easy. It gets the engagement rate of the posts up. They don't even need a specific goal to start out as long as they have people active in a bunch of different places. When a concerted effort to skew things in a particular political direction develops, analysis is done on the part of the Russian spoofed group members to subtly drop ideas into their communities. They want to either positively reinforce a group's behavior like, hey, it's cool to support Trump, or deter other groups from acting in a way they don't like, such as, if you're black, you're betraying your race by voting for Clinton.
We are running against a president who is a pathological liar, a fraud, a racist, a sexist, a xenophobe.
Every year I tell the IRS, I'm not filing a return. I have no intention of doing so. Come and find me. Not illegal. A lot of people are saying they have never seen anyone live cast their evasion of U.S. authorities before.
It's nothing that looks blatant at the start until you realize just how big the snowball has become. Start small by supporting an echo chamber's core beliefs and slowly begin to steer the massive ship on a slightly different course over time until the newly manipulated course looks like it was developed organically by the community. Things like this work best when people believe they thought of everything themselves.
I am smart.
It's a concept that works in business and personal relationships too. Scary stuff. What you have to worry about is the little bits of erosion on people's ability to critically think. And in a country as divided as the United States, that matters. When tens of thousands of votes can make or break elections, it can't be ignored either. The intelligence community acknowledges that this is occurring, law enforcement acknowledges it, and the social media platforms themselves agree that it's happening. It's not some crazy conspiracy theory, it's real and it happens constantly. You can't just point fingers at the Russians either. The Islamic State had a substantial recruiting network embedded within their digital footprint in the past, and countless other actors are all constantly pulling in different directions. Everything from organized state actors to fringe groups all have their fingers in the pie to some extent, and they're preying on people like your ignorant family members and friends to spread the word for them. Ya fat fucking ant! You want to support equality and rally against the man who does nothing but fuck you? Want to support that Black Lives Matter? Great, they're stoking the flames there every single day. You a member of Blue Lives Matter and vehemently disagree with the other side? Yep, they're there too, making you think that you are the righteous shepherd society needs and that anyone who disagrees with that is someone you won't even listen to anymore. It does not matter what side of anything divisive you're on in 2019. You believe you're a free-thinking individual, but everyone who takes participating in special interest group forums and yelling into the ether seriously is being subtly influenced over time all the same. You may not want to notice it because, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow realizing the communication platforms and forums that you hold dear are fundamentally corrupted by outside participants. Memetic warfare is an unintended consequence of the development of this technology. Easy access combined with people's voluntary transparency with regard to their personal information and beliefs has caused a perfect storm of potential outside influence.
This isn't right!
But this isn't something we can all pretend is a slight problem with the moderation on social media platforms either.
AK-47! Put the cops in piggy heaven!
Hey, listen!
At its highest, most organized levels, it's a straight-up intelligence operation focused on disrupting our internal discourse and our access to unbiased information. At least that's how our enemies see it. So what's the answer? Relying on our government to protect us? A Chinese-style lockdown on content? Of course not. We may have some issues with the political correctness pendulum swinging around erratically in the US right now, but we still have a significantly higher standard of free speech than most of the world. That deserves to be maintained and held up as one of the positive things America can do right. It would be great if the algorithms on all the different platforms could be sensitive without being Orwellian, if they could be efficient without having the substandard accuracy of a sledgehammer, or if they could be contextual in their processing and not reactive to their mistakes that harm people's livelihoods. Unfortunately, the tech companies running these platforms still have quite a bit of work to do. The key lies in educating our citizens and how to recognize propaganda when they see it. We need to know how to properly vet a source and to understand the difference between fact and a person's opinion. Teach it in schools. Teach it to your fat fucking ant.
You fat fucking ant! You fat fucking ant!
Teach it to your kids. If people don't begin to take responsibility for what they consume, the line between reality and misinformation is going to get blurrier and blurrier every single day. But wait, what happens if the places you go to and the techniques you employ to figure out what's fact and what's fiction all fail you? What if the bastions of truth we used to rely on to fact-check the bullshit coming out of everyone's mouths become political mouthpieces themselves? Isn't it sad when sources that claim to be news are clearly a source of political entertainment designed to rile up and direct a political base? This means you really need to do some work. You can't trust any of these sources that claim to be fact-checking things anymore because it's clear they have lacked integrity for quite some time. You also can't blindly trust fact-checking services like PolitiFact either at this point. This means you really need to question everything that you take in. This isn't some ploy to get you to become a tinfoil hat-wearing moron who chooses to cling to a delusion because it's easier than facing an unfulfilled life. It's not an invitation or a suggestion not to trust anything or anyone ever again either. It's just a reminder that you can't take things like an objective press for granted anymore. If something truly matters to you, research it. Research it as deeply as it's actually important to you. Because if nothing else, humans are truly motivated by self-interest and protecting their own. If you don't agree with someone else or even give a shit about something, well then just don't use violence against anyone else because of it. Use your energy on getting your own life right instead. There's a whole world of things that can provide your existence with meaning and your life with fulfillment. You don't gotta do that bullshit. And you know what? If some shit does come out where you feel like you have to express an opinion publicly online, just wait 48 hours, let the dust settle, get all the facts, and then say something. Don't just do it right away. Nothing good comes out of you just typing on a keyboard when you're mad. And remember, you're not limited to a cookie cutter that society, or your family, or some kind of a group tells you are valid sources of your life's significance. If you want more, go seek it out. Your personal development and their existence are not mutually exclusive. And if they are, it may be worth reconsidering that relationship through an honest lens. You should never feel bad about seeking out personal fulfillment, because a better and more fulfilled you means a better and more fulfilled you for everyone else you need to interact with every day. I think it's better than being digital cannon fodder for the people looking to take advantage of you while you're doing the alternative anyway. So take a breath and think about what actually matters to you outside the context of any group. It's probably been a while, but try it out.
Try it out, man. Just let me try it out.
Our world would be a better place if we all did that. Until then, continue blowing up relationships with your friends and family over dumb shit. Lose a job or two because work found out about your toxic-ass Twitter account. Have weird and confrontational Thanksgiving dinners. Whatever. Do it all, guys. But if you do choose to take a step back and not fall prey to spending all of this useless effort on emotional outbursts, just be good to one another and realize we live in a pretty awesome world with a lot of cool shit to experience, even if you don't agree with everyone along the way.
You fat fucking ant? You fat fucking ant?
You're a fat fucking ant.
Yeah, my fucking aunt. She's a fucking racist, man.
Jesus Christ! So put on, the armor of God. Jesus Christ! We love you, God, so we do it for God. Jesus Christ! Belt of truth. Jesus Christ! So we do it for. We love you, God. Chestplate. Jesus Christ of righteousness. We love you, God. Shoes of peace, stomping on the enemy. God. Jesus Christ, we love you, God. So we do it for him. Shield, Jesus Christ.